You are now listening to the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. Here is your host, Blaine Spencer.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. We've got a real exciting announcement today. I've got Michael Dowdy Jr., former Seton Hall basketball walk-on and athlete, also a 2016 Big East champion. He's also a good friend of mine. Mike, how are we doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, the honor was all mine. And before we get started, me and you have talked about this story a little bit, but I don't know if you remember, but my first ever involvement at Seton Hall basketball was playing you in pickup with all your boys. And you guys literally schooled us 16-1.
Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember that was some fun times, man. That that wreck, there's a lot of buckets happening in there.
The buckets weren't falling when I was playing you though. I just had to get that out of the way. We used to play pickup a lot, and my first ever pickup game was against him, and he crossed me on the second possession, and I was like, I'm not gonna have a good day today.
Listen, I remember you getting your fair share of buckets too, man. So don't sell yourself short.
Well, that's because I had to pull up from 35 because you would guard me as soon as I freaking got across half court.
Listen, man, you had our respect though, man. I'll tell you that. You was no slouch.
I appreciate it. All right, bro. Let's jump right in here. I want to ask this first question. Coming out of Chicago, where you played high school ball, what led you to Seton Hall? And then eventually you decided to try out for the Seton Hall basketball team as a walk-on.
What led me to Seton Hall? Honestly, they chose me. You know, out of all of the schools that I applied to, I felt that it was the best opportunity financially for me personally. You know, for me to just grow individually. You know, I wanted to get away from home. In order to work on that independence. You know, for me doing everything as a kid so close to home. I felt like that was, the best opportunity for me. It was a small school, so that I was looking forward to that. I've always went to small schools, like ever since I was a kid, like starting in kindergarten. So I knew me going to a big school probably wasn't going to be for me. And so that, paired with, the financial aspect of it all, I just went in, just ready to work and ready to just get to it. You know what I mean? So, in terms of me, trying out, that was always a dream of mine to play Division I basketball. I had decided that no matter where I went, that's what I was going to try to do. No matter what school it was, whether it was, D3, D2, D1, I didn't care. I just wanted to hoop. You know what I mean? I had the love for it, and I still do. I still play, like recreationally. But yeah, just from a youngin', early on, like my parents instilled that work ethic in me, and everything I did. But, especially basketball, I just, like I said, I had the love for it. I worked at it every day in summers off, starting my freshman year, summer before that, trying out, didn't make it, coming back again, sophomore year, summer before my sophomore year, going even harder, working out with my cousin, he was primarily training me, him and my dad. Coming back sophomore year, actually, halfway making it, but not, officially. So that was, instead of letting that discourage me, I went back, got back to the grind again, and then finally my junior year, it all worked out for me. So it was definitely, it was a big blessing, man. I was happy that my hard work had paid off.
Definitely. And then for those 3 different tryouts, I know those kind of fly under the radar when people don't really know that a walk-on tryout's actually taking place.
Oh
so
yeah, those things are like,
how do you even get in? Yeah,
honestly,
how do you even get in?
It was like a wild goose chase my first year. I had no idea about who to talk to, who to contact.
I remember going on a website trying to figure out who I should, email or who I should, call or whoever. And then I remember getting the job my freshman year, working in the rec center. So just talking to, all the personnel there, just trying to, fill it out to figure out how I could, work my way in. People were telling me about the director of basketball operations, who at the time was Ryan Whalen. So I contacted him. And then I think he put me in contact with, I believe it was Kyle Smythe. I think they were the ones who were running it. And Grant too, Coach Grant Villmeyer. So I got in contact with them, just pressing the issue, trying to figure out like what I needed to do or if they were even having tryouts. So finally, I got my answer. We got in there. It was a huge turnout my freshman year. I think that had to be like at least like 15, 16 guys there my freshman year. So it was
really,
there was a lot of heads there, man. People I had, we'd been playing with in the rec. So I was kind of familiar, with them. So that kind of, eased the nerves a little bit, but it was more so me just being confident, in the work that I had put in. And so it was the same thing every year, trying to track somebody down and figure out if they were on the tryout, how I could just, make my way, to where I wanted to be.
So even though that you had tried out multiple times beforehand, you still had to go through the exact same process.
Absolutely.
Every time.
Yeah, there was no preferential treatment or anything like that. I had to do the same thing. It was starting at ground zero every single year. So like when you want something, you do whatever you got to do, to get it.
And then your sophomore year, it was more of a because of classes conflicting, right, with practice schedules.
Right,
Is that what it was?
So, yeah, it was sophomore year where I tried out. It was a little less of a turnout that year. It's probably like, I don't know, maybe between 6 to 8 there.
Okay.
Yeah, actually what happened was we had 2. So that was like the first one with like, about 8 guys, and then they had us come back where there was just like 4 of us or something like that, and they just put us like through a whole workout, and it was intense, But like I said, I was ready for it because of the work I was putting in, and so after the tryout, they contacted me. They told me that they wanted me on a team, So hearing that, you get excited. You think like, damn, I made the team. I'm calling my family, like all of that, my friends. I'm telling friends, like, man, I think I might have got in. You know what I mean? Like I'm just ecstatic, And then when it's time to do the paperwork and all of that, they're looking at my schedule. They're telling me, oh, we don't want you like switching classes around or having to drop this or drop that. In my mind, I'm like, what? I'll switch my whole major. Like, I'll change whatever I got to do. Like I'll go independent, whatever. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? So that was kind of rough, like making it, but not making it actually, so, but, I didn't let that discourage me. I just, same thing that school year, I'm working on my game, a lot of people, just doing the recreational, but in my mind, I was preparing for something. So, every time I stepped on the floor, it didn't matter who I was playing against. Like, it was just me, preparing for that end goal in mind. I'm just like, I want to be D1. I want to be on the team. So, like, there was a daily thing, just building it brick by brick,
So was it the academic advisors kind of like steering you away from playing, or like what made?
I think what it was is that
did you make the final call? What was it?
No, it was them. Because it was them telling me that they were against it. I guess it was some higher ups, administration that they didn't. I guess they said it was a bad look on the team's part, getting some kid to change his whole academic schedule around or switching majors, just to be on the team to fit their schedule.
Let me guess, next year you've scheduled around
absolutely
the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't want any problems. So they told me I figured out what their schedule was, and I just picked all my classes, around so we didn't have those issues.
Yo, that's some bull.
Yeah.
Really
absolutely,
is.
man. Yeah, it was tough though, but it
stayed down.
But that
We got
must
it the next year.
that must have motivated you the next year though, because you knew you could do it at that point.
That summer after the sophomore year is I think that's when I went the hardest, because I knew I was right there. You know what I mean? I didn't want to, take that summer off, rather than, take breaks, me thinking that I had made it because I had done it once before. I hit the ground running even harder, because I didn't know who would be there the next year. If they had new recruits coming in, if they'd have like preferred walk-ons or anything, anybody else who I'd have to be competing against. So it was, my cousin, my dad told me, it's time to go harder than you have ever before, because that next year was key. It was like do or die for me. And it was actually a funny story. I didn't think I made it that junior year, because we went to tryouts. Forget how many were there, but it was decent turnout. And they actually contacted all of us by email, and they told us that they weren't going to take anybody. So that was a big blow. So at that point, I was like, wow, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. You know what I mean? It's just the third time. Like, I thought I struck out. You know what I mean? So I called my dad. Like, I was hurt, man. I was upset. You know what I'm saying?
I would be sick.
I was sick. It was like, man, like all this work I put in, it's supposed to pay off and this and that. And then literally not 5 minutes after they sent that email out, they called me. They say, man, we're taking you. Come to the gym right now. I don't think I've ever ran so fast to that gym, man.
So
they said they were taking me.
So they literally sent out the email and then called you on the side.
I got the email and called me. They called me like 5 minutes after that.
Yo,
told me they wanted to.
That's so whack. They really had you. You're playing with your emotions, boy.
Yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster for sure, man. But like I said, everything worked out the way it's supposed to. Work paid off. I was, probably the greatest feeling I've ever felt in my life. At that moment, realizing that I had made it.
I can only imagine. Like my body physically, this, like I blew out both of my legs to I could go be a D1 athlete, but still, like that feeling of just being like, yo, this is legit. I'm on this stage right now.
Honestly, I couldn't even believe it. I thought somebody was prank calling me at first. It was just like, yeah, we need to come to the gym now. I was like, huh? Who was it? I didn't even know who it was.
You had no idea?
I didn't even know who it was. Who was it that called me? I don't remember if it was Grant or Kyle. It was one of those.
Did Grant run every year then, the tryout?
Yeah, he was the one in charge of it.
That kind of like selected the walk-ons.
Yeah, it was he ran it, and then I guess they did it by committee or whatever. They took it to Willard. They told him who they liked. And then I guess, they liked me enough that year. So, it worked out.
All right. So walking into your first practice, was it like scary, intimidating? Did the guys like welcome you with open arms? Because being a walk-on, you got an extra chip on your shoulder already just being there. So how'd that play out?
So you have that. You have the chip on your shoulder, but then you walk in and when you see what D1 players look like, you see 6'7", 6'8", 6'10". I'm like, wow. And I kid you not, I was shaking a little bit, but then I had to remember, who I was, the work I put in, that, I belong here, you know what I mean? So it was just, it's time to get to work, be me, just play my game, do what I did to get me there. You know what I'm saying? So it was that first practice, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who to
But you probably were still,
what to do.
Who cares? You're probably smiling ear to ear, even though you were doing everything wrong. You probably had a smile
everything.
Never came off.
I don't think I did one thing right that day. I was all over the place. I was like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
So I was on the sideline probably like the first 35, 40 minutes just standing there. We were doing drills. I didn't know any of the drills.
So finally, Willard, he looks at me. He's like, who are you? Like, what are you even doing here? I was like, did he not know I'm coming? I froze, So he finally just told me to jump in, and I had to learn everything on the fly. You know what I mean? So that whole first day was just it was a mental day, really. It was about me being a sponge, trying to pick up everything, just going in and playing hard, not trying to do too much, just to pull out the phone, So that first week, that's what it was all about, Nobody knew my name the whole first week. Just called me different names and all of this, playing the game. So I was ready for it though. It's nothing that I, wasn't prepared for. But that first week was a roller coaster. But it was fun though. It was fun finally getting to put that Seton Hall jersey on. So that was and it was an amazing feeling. I had my friends, they had my back cheering me on, so that kept me going too. It kept me motivated.
And the uniform they were selling at the bookstore was your number. They were only
Really?
selling 13, I think, at the bookstore,
Wow.
right? I think.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they were selling 13.
Amazing. Yeah, it was that was my junior year number. But then my senior year I got the number. Yeah, I got the number. That was the number I wanted my junior year at 22, but I think someone else had their name on it or something, so I couldn't take that one. But yeah, that was I was just happy to have a Seton Hall jersey.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I didn't have my name on the back of my jersey. I didn't care. You know what I mean? I'm just not what it's about. I just wanted to have that Seton Hall on my chest, man. It was amazing to be able to be a representative, of the school in that way. Just to be able to say I'm a D1 player, something I had worked for, my entire life. You know what I'm saying? Something that I had believed I could do, and it finally came to fruition. So yeah, my family, they were probably more happy than I was, honestly.
Yeah.
They were more excited, calling me every day. And my dad's like after every practice calling me. He's at work calling me. I'm in class, he's calling me. It was amazing, man. So
he wanted a minute by minute update, bro.
Yeah, everything. It was amazing.
That's his proud family right there for sure.
Yeah, man. It was great motivation for me too to know that they were just happy as I was, and they had my back through it all. So
and then
great time.
And then at St. Peter's, you got your first bucket when you were playing them. What was that moment like for you?
All right, so that was
that just
honestly, that was a muscle memory shot. That was just being in the gym. Like, I kid you not, I could not see the rim. The dude that was guarding me was like 6'3", but I got one like little glance at the rim, and I put it up. It's end of a shot clock, and it dropped. So like, for everybody out there, that the work it'll get you right, man.
The work paid off.
it literally, you know what I mean? That honestly, that was God got in that shot. You know what I mean? I couldn't see the rim, but that was amazing. I got interviewed after the game. It was all so new to me, man. Like I made the shot. I didn't know what to do. But I got video of it. I don't even know what I was doing when I ran back on the other end. It was, I looked like,
and probably everyone was cheering on the sideline. Everybody too.
It was like, that was like an out of body experience, man. I didn't even know what was happening in the moment. I felt the whole arena shake after that, man. People jumping up and down, whole crowd screaming. I couldn't hear myself think, man. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was probably that is the highlight of my whole basketball career.
Yeah.
I'll always remember that. Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
More than holding on to the trophy?
Yeah, you're right. So that's probably the second best. That Big East championship, getting to cut down that net, that was something else. And then my first year, no less. That was
run me through that feeling, like that run. Run me through that run, because you guys were not picked to win. That was Nova's year. Nova went on to win the Natty that year.
I'm still angry about that, by the way.
Yeah,
because we felt like that should have been us. We felt like that should have been us, honestly.
So this is what I do as a Notre Dame fan. Now it's what I used to do as a Seton Hall fan. Especially if we lose, you always be the last team that they beat them.
Exactly. Yep. We were always the last team to beat them. But yeah, that year was it was a lot of work. We didn't start off too well, but we always believed that we were going to be good, and we believed that we were going to start clicking at some point in the season. The chemistry of that year was it was great. You know what I mean? Like win or lose, you know what I'm saying? Like we were it was a tight knit group, like we actually, liked each other, so that made it easier. That made it easier to play on the court, in practice, going at each other, working hard, me being, just doing whatever I needed to do, whatever they needed me to do to get us better. So like I call myself like a practice player, you know what I mean? So I was always on the scout team.
What was the hardest player you had to reenact for? What kind of
hardest player
that you had to like mimic for because you said a practice player being part of the scout team? Who did they want you to be one day?
Wow.
To mimic your game behind.
Probably Maurice. Who was the hardest player? I gotta say Jalen Brunson.
So
Probably.
So you had to try and mimic Brunson's game.
Yeah, that was tough because.
Well, he's a lefty.
That's what I'm saying.
That's already the hardest part for you.
It wasn't so much that because, I think I'm left-hand dominant. I'm right-handed, but my left side is like stronger.
All that. Yeah.
Yeah, but our games is just like the complete opposite. He's really, really heady point guard, fundamental. He's a dribble drive kind of guy, whereas I'm more of a like on a perimeter play. I'm like a shooter. You know what I mean? So I'm more of an attacking mindset as well. He's an overall point guard. He's always looking at these guys involved. So, and then the offense was a little complex for me at the time too, trying to learn it, try to mimic that in practice. Just the intelligence, that team played with. It was like out of this world.
It was different.
Man.
It was different.
Like Jay Wright had those guys, like it was like clockwork, man. It was like virtually no mistakes, and we had to mimic that in practice. Trying to get our guys ready for that. But we got it done. Like we watch film, we go for plays before practice. It was just, and me I took that so serious. You know what I mean? It was like practice was like my games. Because I had to do what I needed to do. For them to be ready. Come game day, because I wanted to win too. I didn't play, but like I was.
Yeah.
The desire was there. I wanted to win. I wanted to, to cut down those nets like we did at the end of the Big East tournament. So just going in there every day with the mindset of me getting better, as well as trying to get, my teammates better every day, working hard, just being me. That's always been my calling card. Just working hard, going hard all the time. Just being a dog, really, you know what I mean? That's how I was brought up, so that helped us, progress each game of the season. It was, I like to say it was a complete ascension. Like there was no downhill. Like it was only up from the first game all the way up into that last that we lost in the NCAA tournament. But it was an amazing ride, man. Like I said, getting the cut down, and I actually got to play. I got on the floor during the Big East tournament against Creighton, like the last 2 minutes or so. It was amazing, man. Like another out of body experience. Like just being able to run up and down like on a stage like that. It's amazing. At the Garden, no less. Like that's
the greatest stage.
It's unrivaled.
The greatest stage.
Absolutely. That feeling is unrivaled, man. So it's a blessing to be able to have gone through that. There's so many guys where I come from that wish that they could have those types of opportunities. So, I didn't take it for granted. Every day it was, it was a beautiful feeling to be able to, like I said, to rep Seton Hall.
How much different was the aura that is MSG when you stepped out on that court? It probably felt like a completely different, like you had to be like, what is happening? Is this real life for a second?
Yeah. It's, how can I put this?
I've been on the court for media stuff. I have never done anything like that. Like in a game, like you're in MSG on the court.
Right. So being on the floor, being able to sit courtside, because I had courtside seats every game, so that was love. But especially in the Garden, like, during the tournament, every game is like being on a roller coaster for 40 minutes, like nonstop, like there's no letdown. Like the energy is unparalleled. Sometimes I couldn't even hear myself think sometimes, like the home team scores, the crowd's roaring after every bucket, you know what I mean? It's loud, it's hard to hear yourself, hear your teammates. It's hard to describe. It's like an indescribable feeling. Like you have to feel it. You know what I mean? Like it's like a vibration that runs through you, man. It's amazing, man. The energy is just it was great, man. I never experienced anything like it before, and probably won't ever again. That was great. It was a great feeling.
And I was actually at the final. I was in the nosebleeds, literally the top row of the nosebleeds when Isaiah hit the shot. For you were right there. When he hit it, did you were like, yo, we just won? Or did you still think there were a couple seconds left? Because it's Nova. No. Like, how does it go through a head just when you're not on the court, when stuff like that is happening all around you?
See, now it's in a situation like that, it's easy to be like, man, we just won. Being in because I'm on the floor. I'm in the basketball mindset. I'm in the game mindset. So if you watch video, you can see me on the sideline, like going crazy, and I think I almost ran on the court. Like, so I had to reel it back in. It's like, oh, I don't want to get us a tech or anything like that. So like the whole bench is just going crazy. Yeah, Willard fell on the floor. Yes. Like everybody's. It was just crowds going wild. So for a few seconds, it's like, man, like wow, like did we just win? Like, but then you take it back a little bit, like, wow, we still got to make a free throw. And there's still some seconds left on the clock. They're probably going to call a timeout, draw a play up. So you gotta shift back in the defensive mode. So at that moment, it was just like, wow, man, we gotta, it's the first part of it, but we got to finish. And that was our thing the whole year. Like defense was our calling card. It was defense.
Physicality.
Yeah, it was every practice. The focus of everything was defense. That was our primary training. So like we revert back to your training. You know what I'm saying? So we shifted back into that defensive mindset, knowing we had to get one stop, and then we'd be Big East champions. So and it worked out. So, well, Villanova fans will probably try to say that they got fouled, but they didn't. They did not. They did not.
And now that you said that, it's gonna blow up in the comments today.
Exactly. Any Villanova fans, I don't want to hear that.
Well, the crazy thing,
we won it straight up.
The crazy thing is that Nova, it was the same exact scenario almost when they played Carolina, because there was a couple of seconds left. Yeah. And then they draw up the play, and it actually works out in the Natty. Yeah. It just came up short in the Big East championship. It was almost the exact same play, though.
Yeah, almost. It was just on the opposite side.
Exactly.
Like there was that right wing three for Chris Jenkins, and he made it, but they did it on the left side. I forgot who shot it. I think it was was it?
It wasn't Jenkins.
Archidiakono or Josh. What was one of them? Either way,
I think it was Hart. If I remember.
But either way, we studied them, man. So we were ready. We were ready for that. Like there was no way we were gonna let that happen, man. And then it worked out.
Just describe the feeling, bro, of cutting down a net and being a champ. You said it was probably the greatest moment that you've ever had to do in your basketball life.
Absolutely, man. It was so, in high school, you go through state playoffs, things like that. Yeah. My high school, we won regional championships, sectional championships. You cut the nets down. But we never made it to the end, that pinnacle, like winning the state championship. So me in my mind, like that's fine, but didn't finish the job. I always wanted more. And so getting into the next level, like, I'm here now. So first step is, winning a Big East tournament, and then after that, winning the national championship. Just being able to walk up that ladder, and cut my piece of the net down, it's a beautiful feeling, man. Like knowing that all the work that you put in, like the preseason, all of that flashes before your eyes. When you realize that you won, the work is paid off. Everything that you work for, it's finally
it's tangible in your hands, you know. So that was a beautiful feeling, man. I think I almost started crying, honestly. Like that was it was a beautiful
I would
feeling.
be. I'd be
Yeah,
sobbing.
man. It was a beautiful
I'd be
feeling,
laying on the middle of the court like this. Just,
yeah, bro. The confetti, all of that, man. It was, yeah, I definitely shed a tear.
were you doing confetti cart jumping jacks down there? Some
Man,
snow angels.
I couldn't even think, man. Like I got to hold the trophy, and you know they gave us like t-shirts, hats, and all that. You know, I had seen scenes like this on TV growing up. You know, watching teams win tournament championships. And for me to actually win one in my first year there, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was all over the place. You know, it was also new to me. But you know, just looking back on it now, yeah, that's probably the greatest athletic achievement that I've ever been a part of. Yeah, it was beautiful, man. And to win that for the school too, like all the fans, you know, like the students, they were riding with us all season. So to win that for them too, it was a great feeling.
Yeah, and then I want to jump to the NCAA tournament real quick. You guys kind of got snubbed on Selection Sunday. They sent your butt out to Utah, where I'm basically at now, out in Idaho.
Right.
It's 2 hours south of me. Altitude, all that. And they probably give you the hardest non-Power 5 team in basketball history with the Zags.
That was, I think that might have been the best team we've. I want to say it's probably the best non-Big East team that we've ever played.
And they had a down year, and they were like, all right, we're in now. Let's just show people what's up.
And that was like one of their like rebuilding years, you know, before they got to, you know, where they were competing for national championships. But just getting there, like getting to Denver. So the first thing we're worried about is like, oh man, we got to go play in this altitude, man. It's going to be different. We don't know how our bodies are going to react. We don't know if people are going to, you know, have bad reactions to it. People are going to start getting sick or whatever. So our like recovery and all that, it was key. And even in practice, you know, we were like easing into things. We didn't want to like go full throttle, and then, you know, we don't know how like we're gonna, like I said, how our body's gonna react to it. So that and honestly, while you're in it, like when you're training and all that, you don't feel it. All of the effects of it are like after you stop moving. So like we would be, you know, we're playing, we're fine, take breaks, and then that's just like it feels like 50 extra pounds is added like onto your lungs. It's
crazy.
It's nuts, man. And like I couldn't believe how difficult it was to breathe there. So we needed like oxygen tanks and all. It was crazy, man. But like that was another first for me, another big first for me, going to the NCAA tournament. Something I grew up watching since I was a kid. You know, being able to actually be there, like in it, you know, going through, you know, practices, media, like just, you know, all the perks of being in a Division I program and an elite one at that, you know. Mm-hmm. So that was, I'll say that was definitely in like my top 5 athletic achievements. So
definitely. And then my last thing I want to ask you was senior night when Willard gave you the start. Did he tell you beforehand that he was going to start you? Man. Was it just like a little bit of a whim? Describe that moment.
He I think it was the practice before the game. He told me I was going to start. So it was, wow, is this for real? Like I'm about to start, you know, they're going to call my name, you know, on the loudspeakers. I get to come out. My family is to see me, you know, actually start in the Division I game. It was amazing, man. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous a little bit, but and actually there was supposed to be this play they were gonna run for me to try to give me a bucket to score, and that's really that was contributing to my nervousness. So I was like, man, I gotta go 1 for 1 here because I know I'm only gonna get this one chance.
Yeah, how much of a run was he gonna give you? Pretty much a couple possessions. That's it.
Yeah, that's why, you know, I was in my mind. I was like, man, I gotta go 1 for 1. I have to go 1-for-1, but we didn't get the tip, so got a defensive possession, and that was it. But
Yeah.
again, I got to start in a Division I basketball game, and not many people can say that. So that was, shout out to them for giving me the opportunity. That was a dream come true, honestly.
For Seton Hall fans, just describe Coach Willard. What is he like? Describe him. If there's any, what do we not see that you guys get to see?
I'll say he's a great family man. He treats us all like his sons. You know what I mean? Like, it's that that tough love that in a moment may not always be enjoyable. But it's always he always has your best interest in mind. He works hard, man. It's one of the hardest workers in the business. It's his preparation. Getting us ready, put us in a position to be successful, man. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's a pretty funny guy too. So that always made practice.
Is it a dry humor, or is it like a funny humor? What is it?
It's a combination of both. But that made some practices more enjoyable. But just it's a real genuine dude. And I'm grateful to him for giving me the opportunity to be on his team. Honestly, that's like I said, one of the greatest achievements that I've ever had. And it was because he gave me the opportunity, put that trust in me to believing that I could contribute to that team, and its success. So, shout out to Willard and his coaching staff, man. So love those guys.
All right, I got a couple questions. They're gonna be real quick, just a couple rapid fire for us to wrap up. You're a Chicago guy.
Absolutely.
You're also now a New Jersey, New York guy. Chicago or New York style pizza?
Chicago, hands down. and before you say anything else, no, deep dish is not the face of Chicago pizza. I actually hate deep dish pizza. It's regular thin crust or nothing for me. And yes, I've had both. So I'm not. It's not just my biased opinion. Well, it is a little bit, but I think the difference has got to be like in the sauce, man.
Yeah,
I think, and just the quality of the ingredients, it's unlike anything you've ever had. So if anybody, you haven't had it, you gotta go try Chicago style pizza. And if you must try the deep dish, make sure you just do that last, because not everybody's gonna like that. Like I said, I'm not a fan, but it's definitely the best pizza I've ever had. Hands down.
Yeah. All right. And I got one more. Who is the hardest player you had to guard in practice on the squad for you? I'm going to throw you on the spot right now.
Man, that's tough.
That's it, because there was Kadeen was on that squad. Isaiah. You had Ish. Ish was more of a defensive guy. Desi.
Right. Who was the hardest player I had to guard? Those guys are all. It was me being just, slightly undersized. I was a little vertically challenged. I made up for that a little bit in strength though. But I say the hardest dude I had to guard was actually my height. It was JT.
JT, really?
Yeah, because he was so explosive and quick. Just strong and athletic. That was definitely it was a real tough task being able to stay in front of him. It was, and the way he played the game, he's a real intelligent player too. So it was guys like that have always been, the toughest kind of guys to guard for me. Everybody, like I said, everybody were great players. We had a solid team. Everybody, it wasn't an easy task guarding anybody on our squad, honestly. So we had some real hoopers.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to come on and chat it up with me. I know it's been a long time coming since we've actually had a chance to catch up, and this was a great way to do it.
Thank you for having me, man. Like I said, it's an honor to be here. I appreciate you.
All right, everybody. That was another edition of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. Be ready for new content and new stuff coming out in the next coming week. Enjoy the rest of your day.